let's start. There are many types of taxes, but basically they can be categorized into two broad categories. Okay, what are those two? Take a guess. Direct and indirect. Correct. So direct and indirect taxes. Now we will discuss in detail. I will tell you obviously, but before that I just want to see. So do you know what is direct tax and what is indirect tax? Any clue, any idea you have? Even if you don't know, you can take a guess also if you want.
Direct tax generally, sir. Direct tax are generally those taxes in which individual pays to the government, sir. In which individual directly pays to the government.
Okay.
Or, so that the government can use that. The government can use taxes to spend for infrastructure activities, healthcare services, all those.
Correct. So direct taxes are those taxes where the taxpayer pays directly to the person imposing the tax, that is the government. And what is indirect tax?
Tax levied on tax levied on consumption of goods, sir.
So why is it called indirect tax?
Because you can't directly pay to the government, sir. You can just taxes can use for the consumption of goods, sir, like customs and so, for example, customs duty, sales tax, value-added tax.
Do you have sales tax and value added tax now? Which are the indirect taxes
no,
you have right now in the country?
Value-added tax, VAT.
VAT was there. Now
No.
VAT has been replaced by GST, goods and services tax. You must have heard this.
Okay.
Whenever you buy anything,
yes, sir,
next time, so if you go to a restaurant, let's say, the bill for the food and everything, the services, after that you will see there is GST added. There'll be two lines, CGST and SGST. So that is an indirect tax, right? So you already know the concept. That's good. A direct tax and an indirect tax. And what is the difference? Direct taxes, for example, a person earns an income, has any kind of income, then he or she has to pay income tax, and the person pays income tax directly to the government. Okay. Indirect tax, for example,
yes.
if you buy anything, there is GST included in the price of goods and services. But why is it called indirect tax? The reason is this. In the first case, who's imposing the tax on you? That is the government. And who's the taxpayer? You. When you earn any income, a portion of that you pay to the government directly. So there is a direct payment from the taxpayer to the person imposing the tax, that is the government. When you are paying GST, for example, you go out and have a meal at a restaurant, or you buy anything from the local store, anything, those things carry a certain rate of tax, maybe 5%, 12%, 18%, depending upon what item it is. Different rates of tax are there. But are you paying it directly to the government? No. So for example, you buy something worth 100 rupees.
You buy something, then you pay with GST along with the prices of goods and services.
Yes. So suppose you buy something worth 100 rupees. Okay. The person will add the tax. Let's say on that particular item, the tax rate is 5%. So the person will collect, the shopkeeper, the merchant will collect from you not 100 but 105 rupees.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you are going to pay 105 to the merchant. Out of that, 100 belongs to the merchant, but the 5 will be paid by the merchant to the government.
So only GST So the GST will get to so the GST will be paid to the government only.
GST will be paid to the government. The 100 belongs to the merchant only.
Yes, sir.
On that, maybe he will make a profit and then he will pay an income tax to the government also. That is a separate issue. So he will also pay income tax because he's earning money, right? That is a
Yes, yes.
separate issue. But let's forget about this issue right now. This 5 rupees collected by the merchant and paid to the government, who is bearing the burden of this tax? This money is coming out from whose pocket? Your pocket, right?
Indirect tax money is coming out from taxpayers.
Yes, even in indirect tax, money is ultimately coming out of taxpayers' pocket only. When Akash purchased 100 rupees worth of goods from the shopkeeper, he paid 105 rupees. 100 rupees for the goods, 5 rupees for the tax. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So ultimately, it is coming from your pocket only, no? In
Yes,
this
sir.
case, who's the taxpayer? Akash. Even in this case, who is the taxpayer? Akash. Right? Because ultimately it is coming out of your pocket. It's just that you are not paying it to the government directly. You are paying it to the merchant, and merchant is giving it to the government. That is why this is called indirect tax. Because the taxpayer himself does not pay to the government. The government will come and catch this person if the tax is not paid. Okay, but who's the taxpayer? Not this person. Taxpayer is you,
Merchant.
the person who's buying the goods. Okay,
Yes, sir.
the merchant is the shopkeeper or the restaurant owner or whatever, so whoever is giving you any goods and services. The responsibility is of the merchant, but who's bearing the burden of the tax? You, because it is coming out of your pocket. The merchant is just taking from you and giving to the government, right? So this is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax. Indirect tax also is there in your course, but not immediately, maybe later on. I think in 6th semester or something, next semester maybe. But for now, we will only focus on direct tax, right?
Yes, sir.
So whenever we study tax, see, we've studied some other subjects together, like we studied the bond market, bond valuation, etc. These are, and we studied other things also. So these are concepts, okay? But tax is not just a concept. When we study tax, tax is a law. So the government of India passed a law in the parliament. It's called an act of the parliament. That is why it's called an act. Whenever the government wants to create a law, they present a bill in the parliament, and once the parliament ratifies it, agrees to it, or a majority of the parliamentarians pass it, then it becomes an act of the parliament. Then it becomes a law which is applicable. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
if the government wants to collect tax, first of all, can the government collect tax? Yes, it can, because we are all governed by the Constitution of India. You know about the Constitution, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are all governed by the Constitution of India, and the Constitution gives power to the government to collect taxes, particularly income tax. Government can levy on people, and it is necessary because it is with this money that the government takes from people that it is able to govern the country and run the country and do various things, welfare schemes, infrastructure development, etc. You already know about that, right? So it is the constitution that gives power to the government to impose income tax and collect tax from citizens, but it has to be done in a proper way. They actually have to write it down in the form of law and get parliament to pass it. So the current law which is applicable for income tax, every law has a name. Okay, so the current law that is applicable for income tax only I'm talking of, is called the Income Tax Act 1961. Okay, it started much earlier. So there was one in 1800s, I think, sometime around that time, and then it was replaced by different acts. The one that we follow right now, the one that is in force right now, is the act that was implemented in 1961. So it is called the Income Tax Act 1961. It was passed by the Parliament in 1961, and it can be changed or amended from time to time. Income Tax Act gets amended every year. There are some changes, some or the other changes, but the main act remains the same. That is the Income Tax Act 1961, and that is the one that we are going to study. Okay. Now, whenever you study an act, see, what is an act? A law is a written statement containing the rules, containing the definitions and everything. And once it is written, people read it and try to understand it, try to
Also,
derive the meaning.
also you can say a law also is a contract between the two parties which they enter into an agreement. Law is a contract. Like,
No, 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 no. That is a different thing. What you are saying is, if two parties come to an agreement on something, then it may be a legally enforceable contract. It may be. That is the Indian Contract Act. That is
oh, okay.
the Indian Contract Act 1872. There are various rules written in that act, that law. And if this agreement between these two people, A and B, if it matches all the criteria given in the Indian Contract Act, then that agreement may be a legally enforceable contract. Okay.
Yes,
but a law is not a contract. Contract is between two people. They are agreeing to do something for each other. Like when you go to a barber shop, he gives you a service by doing something for you, like giving you a shave or a haircut or some other service, and in exchange you are giving money. This is a transaction between two people. Okay, a law is not a transaction between two people. A law is a set of rules which is supposed to be followed by the people of the country, to whomsoever the rules apply. Okay.
yes, sir.
So, for example, Indian Income Tax Act, it is applicable to all the citizens of the country. You have to follow it. It's a rule compulsory for you. But if you don't have income, then obviously the government cannot take tax on income from you. Right? But it is applicable to all the citizens of the country. It is not a contract between two people. It is a set of rules given by the government, by the parliament. Okay.
Yes,
You
sir.
understand, right? All the laws in the country are made by the parliament, the national level laws, and all the state related laws are made by the legislative assemblies of the state, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So similarly, tax laws are also created either by the parliament in Delhi or by the various legislative assemblies of the state. It's a law, it's not a contract. So whenever you study any law, okay, a law is a written set of rules. This book that I showed you, this book, this is the Indian Income Tax Act. That is how big the act is. Okay, so it's a very detailed set of rules. But whenever you study any law, generally in India at least, generally, so law cannot be arbitrary. It has to be very specific, and it is written in words. So whatever the government wants you to do, it has to write very clearly, very specifically, and everything has to be defined. When we were discussing things like risk, return, valuation of bonds, etc., those are concepts. What we are going to study now is not a concept, it's a written law. So whatever the government, whatever the parliament has written, that is a law. So it's very important that you have to study the text and understand it properly. Only then will you understand tax properly, right?
Yes, sir.
Anytime you study any law, it is divided into sections. Like when you write an essay, it is divided into sentences, paragraphs, like that. Similarly, a law, different topics, different points are divided into different sections, and the sections are numbered. So whenever I wish to whenever there's an argument between two people, I can just refer to the section. Okay, section this says this, section that says this, and it's easy. For ease of reference, it is numbered sections. And generally when you open any law in India, section 1,
So for studying law, we have to study all the sections. We have to learn all the sections.
for this subject,
Yeah. If you want to study law, for those
if
who
you
want
want to study law, see, there are several topics in law. If you wish to study law, it's like you'll have to study different laws, and for each law you will have to study at least the broad construct, the broad theme or structure of the law. Maybe not all sections, but
yes, sir.
then if you specialize in certain laws, for example criminal law or corporate laws or tax laws or family related laws, family disputes, commercial laws. So there are different areas of law. If you are a student of law, you study everything, but then you specialize in something. It's not possible to know every section of every law. There are hundreds and thousands of laws in this country, in any country.
Okay.
Coming back, whenever you study any law, if you open the law book, the act, section 1, I told you it is divided into numbered sections. There are different sections, each section has a number. So the first section is normally contains the title, that is, what is the name of this act, the scope, the title, the scope, and when the act will come into effect. All right. So if you open up the section 1 of Indian Income Tax Act, generally it will read, this act, if enacted by Parliament, I'll read it out to you. Wait. So it reads, be it enacted by Parliament, this act may be called the Indian Income Tax Act 1961. That is the title. Okay. It is called the Indian Income Tax Act 1961. Second is the scope, to whom it applies. It says it extends to the whole of India. That means the scope of this act is it applies to the whole of India. And third point is effect. When will it become effective? Save as otherwise provided in this act, it shall come into force on the first day of April 1962. Okay.
What about the explanation of the act?
This is just the first section. There are more than 500 sections in this act. Okay. So
no, what does the section 1 say? What does it indicate? What does it explain? There should be a
nothing. Section 1 just gives you the name of the act, the scope of the act, and when it comes into effect. This is the first thing any act will tell you.
Okay, sir.
If you open a book, the first page has what? The name of the book, who's the author, right? Similarly, any law you study, section 1, generally, section 1 will have title, scope, and when it comes to effect. End of section 1. Then section 2 will have other details, and 3 and 4 and 5, many sections are there. All right. So normally this is section 1. And in Income Tax Act also, this is section 1.
Yes, sir.
Next is section 2. Generally, in many of the acts, in most of the acts, section 2 contains definitions. Notice it is not one definition, definitions. Whenever I'm trying to create a law for something, I first need to define the words that I'm using. For example, if I'm saying you have to pay tax on income, then first of all, I need to define what is income, right?
Yes,
Why?
yes,
Why do I need to define it? Because, see, common man's understanding is there. If I ask you what is income, you will be able to tell me.
yes, sir.
But when it is a matter of paying money, okay, and when it is a law, then people can bend the understanding. People can try to evade, they, avoid paying taxes by saying, oh, this is not income from me, for me. This is a gift I have received from someone. I don't consider it as income. Someone has given it to me just for keeping with me. I have to pay it back at some time. So there are different ways. What will be income? What will not be income? Everything has to be defined. All right.
Or where
So,
does the income come from? That also is very good.
sorry.
Like you have to explain in detail, right? In definition, right? What is income? Where does the how do you get income? What is income? What
Yes.
is not income? You have to give the whole
Yes.
explanation. Detail.
Yes. We will cover the definition of income also. We'll cover, there are several definitions that you need to know.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Right now, so income is one definition. There are many other things that are defined in the act. And generally, in any act, section 2 will be related to definitions.
Yes,
There
sir.
are definitions after section 2 also, but section 2 is completely definitions, only definitions.
Okay,
All
sir.
right. Okay, so we will study some of the definitions from section 2. But before that, I want to explain one thing to you, that why is it a separate subject? Normally, tax is measured in terms of percent, like 20% tax you pay, 10% tax you pay. So if the government wants to impose tax, income tax, all they have to do is provide a percentage. Suppose that percentage, suppose, not in reality, just assume that percent is 20%. Then what is the problem? Why have they written such a thick book? All you have to do is take your income. Suppose your income is 100 rupees. You take 20% of that, that is 20 rupees, and pay it to the government. What is the problem? Why is it such a big subject? Tax rate multiplied by income should be the tax, and that you pay to the government. But it is not that simple. Why? Let me tell you why. It is possible that there are two people, A and B. This person also earns rupees, let's say rupees 10 lakhs. This person also earns rupees 10 lakhs. It is possible that the government does not collect tax from this person and collects a 20% or 30% tax from this person. Why? Because this person is earning income from, both are earning 10 lakh, but this person's source of income is agriculture.
Okay.
Matlab, A is a farmer and this person is a salaried employee in a private company. So in India, there is no tax, no income tax on agriculture. Agriculture is exempt from income tax. So that is why it is not so simple. Two people earning the same amount of money, but not paying taxes, not paying same taxes. One is not paying any tax, the other is paying some tax, because the source of income is different. So the income tax can vary with the source of income. Different sources of income will have different kinds of taxation. Is it clear?
Okay.
Any questions?
But why does not agriculture can pay the tax?
It is a policy in India that we don't charge income tax, we don't levy income tax on farmers,
Yeah, but what is the reason?
to help the farmers, to support the farmers. Because generally farmers' condition is not good in India,
Okay, okay, I
right?
got it, I got it.
Okay.
So you collect tax from So you collect tax from any employee or from any individual or from any organization uh, to pay for these low wage to pay for these workers who are getting low wages, right?
See, when the government collects income tax, it is used for various purposes. It
Yeah,
is used for paying, it is used for welfare schemes for poor people. It is used for giving subsidies for farmers. It is used for paying cash to farmers. It is also used for developing roads,
yeah,
building dams,
infrastructure. Yeah,
railway. It is also used for armed forces,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Defense and armed forces, military defense.
Everything. So that happens
Yes, sir.
from the direct and indirect tax that the government collects.
Yes, sir.
But the point we are discussing here is calculation of income tax is not very simple. Why? Because it is not just you take a rate, take the income, multiply the two, the answer is tax. No. Why? Because sometimes two people earning the same amount of money do not, both of them don't pay same amount of tax. One is paying zero tax, the other is paying something, because
Okay.
one is earning income from agriculture, which is tax free. So certain incomes are tax free. Let me take another example. There is A, there is B, and there is C. All three of them are salaried employees in private companies. Okay. But this one is earning only, let's say, 1 lakh rupees. This one is earning 5 lakh rupees. And this one is earning 50 lakh rupees. So again, when you study the tax laws, you will realize that this person will not pay any tax, nil. This person will pay a very small tax. This person will pay a huge tax. That will be more than 30% of the income. Why is that so? In the previous case, two people having same amount of income but different sources of income were not paying the same tax because different sources of incomes are taxed differently. In this case, the source of income is same for all of them. All of them are employees in a private company, so they get salaries. But uh, it is a concept
Those
that people who are
those
richer,
who have yeah,
those
yeah,
who have higher incomes, they pay more. Those who have moderate income, they pay less. And those who have very little income, they don't pay income tax at all.
yeah. I got it, sir. I got it. Yeah.
Okay,
I was going to say that.
correct. Good. So tax can be different if your source of income is different. Tax can be different even if your source of income is the same, but the amount is different. So tax also depends upon the amount. Certain minimum amount is exempted. It is called the basic exemption limit. If you earn that much, you don't pay any tax at all. Okay. Next case, similarly, you will see later on as we progress in the course. For example, A and B, both are earning 5 lakh rupees. So same amount. Plus, both are in the same profession. The source of income is also same. So source is also same. Both work for a private company and both receive salary. Okay. So one is earning 5 lakh as salary from a private company. The other one is also doing the same thing. Still, it is possible that both of them are paying different taxes. Why? Can you think of a reason? Take a guess. Hello, Akash, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm just thinking.
So in the first case, the source
Because
of income was different. In the second case, the amount was different. In this case, the amount is also the same. The source is also the same. Still, is it possible that they pay different tax?
those yes, sir. I think it's possible they can pay different tax. So yes, sir.
Okay, why? Give me a possible reason or an example how or why.
Maybe because they are working in high companies or low companies, sir.
No, they are working in the same company.
Yeah, same company, but there's something high or low, sir, that maybe they are working in the upper level, high level company or something.
Doesn't matter. Both are in the same company. Whatever they are doing the same. And they are earning the same salary also, 5 lakhs. Then why will they pay different amount of tax? Shall I tell you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sometimes as we progress through the course, you will see that when people are taxed, there are different rates for different types of people also. For example, this A is a young person and this B is a senior citizen. That means above 60 years of age. So when the government is collecting tax, they give a little advantage to senior citizens. Even if the income is same, they will collect a slightly lesser tax from senior citizens. So your
Okay.
taxation can depend upon the source of income. It can depend upon the amount of income. It can also depend upon who you are. Okay. If
Okay.
an individual earns income or a company earns income, the taxation will be very different. It will not be the same. Even within individual, like in this case, both are individuals, both are human beings, not companies. But because one is senior citizen, they will pay a little less tax. So
Okay.
taxation can depend on so many things. That is why it is a complicated subject. It is not so simple that you take your income and you apply a percentage. It is not like simple multiplication. And this is just the beginning. What I've told you, there are many more things, and that is the reason why it is complicated. Okay, do you
But the
have
form,
any
but the
questions?
formula will be the same, like tax rate into income.
But how do you arrive at the income? We will discuss that, don't worry, we'll get there. So some
Yes, sir.
income is called exempt income, then there are deductions. After that you arrive at the after exempt income you arrive at the gross total income. Then from that you get some deductions, some more benefits. After that you arrive at the total income or taxable income. Then on that you apply the tax rate, and even tax rate is not the same. It can be different for a young person, it is different for a young person and a senior citizen. So it is a little complicated because of these things, right? It is not a concept, it is a law. Law means government has made these rules and we have to follow them. Why it has made these rules? Because income from agriculture is exempt. Why? Because we want to support the farmers. It is a policy of the government. Why beneficial rate of tax for senior citizen? Why are they giving it given advantage? Because we want to support the senior citizens. Similarly, as we progress through the study of tax, you will understand it is not arbitrary, it is done for a reason.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but ultimately it's a law. Whatever is written in the law, there you don't have to find logic in it. You just have to apply the law.
Which means follow the rules and regulations.
So yes, so whatever is written has to be followed. For example, you cannot argue that a person who's 59 years of age does not have advantage. Okay, but as soon as he turns 60 and becomes senior citizen, he gets a tax advantage. You can argue that why the advantage is not given to 59, why not to someone 58 years old, why only 60 years old. See, there is no limit to arguing, but it is not a concept. Okay, so
It's a
no point
law.
arguing. The government decided this, the parliament decided this, hence it is there. There's nothing to argue about.
Yes, so there's no reason. You have to just follow the rules, regulation
Yes,
under the law, sir. Yeah, yeah, I got it,
yes.
sir. I got it. Yeah.
Okay, so that is why some places you might feel income tax is a little illogical, but nevertheless we still have to follow because that is the law of the land. Okay,
Okay.
so whenever you are studying any law, right now you're studying income tax, maybe in future you will study more laws. Any law you are studying, definitions are the most important thing, because according to the definition only everything is written down in the rules. So when we are studying income tax, there are a few very important definitions that we have to study. the most basic definitions. There is a word in English, assessment. What does it mean?
Evaluation.
Kind of evaluation or checking or trying to measure or gauge, right?
Yes, sir.
So when you analyze your income and try to figure out how much tax is payable on that,
Okay.
that process is also called assessment. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So assessment in the context of Indian Income Tax Act is basically, it means like you evaluate your income and calculate how much tax is payable. Okay. Now, when can you calculate the tax on income? Normally, it is done on a yearly basis. Okay. It is done on a yearly basis. You know what is a financial year?
Yes, sir. Which financial transactions are made within the year, so that's why.
Yeah, but typically, what is the financial year adopted in India?
1st April to 31st March.
Correct. So the current financial year started on 1st April 2022 and will end on
31st March
31st
2023.
March 23. This is a financial year.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
if you have to pay tax on the income earned in this financial year, when will you do it?
So, any days, any time, sir, within the financial year, sir.
Okay, anytime within the financial year. I'm asking you right now, suppose I'm government of India, I'm asking you, for this whole year, you tell me how much is the income and you pay the tax right now. Is it possible for you?
No, sir.
1st April 22. This is the financial year I'm talking to you about. 31st March 23. I'm telling you, I don't care whatever income you're going to earn in this whole year, in these 12 months, you calculate the tax right now and give me the tax right now. Please do that. Why can't you do that? Tell me.
So right now you said calculating in taxes is very complicated. So it depends upon the source of income. It depends upon what you are, who you are. So it's and it depends on
So you take
whom
the
did you
help of a
collect.
CA,
Yes,
no
sir.
problem. You take the help of a CA, but you
Yes, sir.
get your tax calculated by a CA and pay me the tax right now.
Yes, sir.
Can you do that?
Yes, sir. We can. Yeah, we can do that.
You can do that. Okay. You have some special magical power that you can predict the future.
Uh,
Can you tell me exactly how much income you will have in August, September, October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March? You can see the future. You have some special magical power.
5 lakhs.
Do you know for sure?
No,
Can you
sir.
predict it for sure? If you're a businessman, can
No,
you
sir.
predict exactly your profit? How much will it be?
No, sir. No, sir. I cannot predict.
You cannot predict, right? It
Right,
is
sir.
illogical to say that I will pay the tax in advance. I will know the income in advance. You can only try to guess the income, but you cannot know for sure.
Yes, sir.
So that is one problem. If the year is not even ended, how can I calculate the profit for the year?
Hmm.
Okay. So whatever calculation of income and paying of tax, calculate the income, calculate the tax, pay the tax. It will not happen It will happen only after the year ends, only in this time. Because
after the financial year.
during this
Okay.
time, I'm still earning the income. If you ask me to pay over here, I don't know about the income I will earn over here in future, right? That is
Right,
one
right.
problem. Second problem is not everyone is a salaried employee. Okay, suppose I'm a businessman, I'm not making any profit in the first 6 months, but maybe in the last month I will make a big profit.
Yes, sir.
But on that, if you ask me to pay tax now, I have not even earned that income. It will only happen in future. I don't have that money. How easy, how difficult will it be for me to pay tax when I don't even have the income in hand?
So you can pay tax after the financial year ends.
After the year end, yes, I will pay after the year end. But I am telling you what are the problems in paying during the year. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Is this much clear?
Yes, sir. Like if yes, sir. Can I pay? So basically, you're trying to say that if you pay tax within the year, you will never know your income only that you have earned.
Exactly.
Yes,
Right
sir.
now, do you know that exactly how much income you will earn in December, January, February?
No,
No.
no, sir. Within the financial year, you'll never know.
Only after the financial year ends,
Yes,
only
sir.
then
Yeah.
you can calculate that, okay, this is the income I have earned during the year.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay, you got this concept. So, for any financial year, this is the time when we earn the money. Okay, after the year ends,
You pay the
after the
tax.
year ends, this is the time we
Okay.
calculate how much income, we calculate how much tax. So basically, what are we doing? We are doing the assessment.
Yes, sir. Like yes, yes, sir. I got it, sir.
Got it?
You
So
pay tax at the end of the year.
after the year end,
Yeah. I mean after the financial year. Yes, sir.
yes. So this is the time for earning. This is the time for evaluation, calculation, or basically I can say assessment. We discussed the word assessment right now, no? This one,
Yes, yes.
assessment, evaluate, calculate how much tax is payable, etc. So this is the time during the financial year you were earning the money. After the year is over, that is the time you will do the assessment. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Let me move on then. So this is 1st of April 21, 31st of March 22. This is one financial year. Okay. For this financial year, whatever income you have earned, when are you going to do the assessment for that?
After the end of the financial year.
So 1/4/22 onwards up till 31/3/22 is called the
20, sir,
assessment.
20, sir, 23, right?
I'm sorry, 23. This is
Okay.
called the assessment year.
Okay, okay.
For this income that you earned, this is called the assessment year. Okay.
In year which you can calculate your income on what tax rate, sir?
When you do
Yes,
the
sir.
assessment, that means evaluation, calculation, payment of tax, all of that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is called assessment year. What do you do in the assessment year? You calculate the tax on the income that was earned in the previous year, right?
Financial year.
In the previous financial year, whatever income you have earned, you calculate tax on that. So this
Yes,
is
sir.
called the previous year. Previous year. These are two definitions that are there. I will show you the legal definition, but understand the meaning. when you earn any income, the assessment of tax, calculation of tax, payment of tax on that happens in the next year. So that next year is when the assessment is done. So it is called the assessment year. And which income you're doing assessment for, which income that was earned in the previous financial year. So this is called the previous year, and this is called the assessment year.
Or you can see the current year also.
Current year, there is
Like
no such thing as current year in income tax. Again, I'm telling you, if you have to study any law, if you have to study income tax, you have to talk in terms of definitions. You have to understand it in terms of definitions.
So
Definitions are most important thing in a law.
So assessment year happens after financial year. So
no. Just listen to this. Yes, whatever income you are earning in one financial year, the assessment for that happen in the next financial year. So the next financial year is called assessment year, and the one in which you are earning the income is called previous year. This much is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now just pay a little bit attention, and this you will understand this completely. 1/4/21, 31st March 22. This is one financial year. Okay. For this, for the income that you are earning over here, this is the previous year. And the assessment for this will happen 1/4/22 to 31/3/23. So this is the assessment year. This much we have discussed, it is already clear. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, here is the tricky part. What about income you are earning in this financial year? You will also earn some income in the second financial year, 1/4/22 to 31st March 23. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that income, for that income, assessment will happen in which year?
Next,
the year after. The year after. So that will happen in
1/4/23 to 24, 31st March 24.
31st March 24. So then, for this income,
yes, I got it.
For this income, which is the assessment year?
For this income, that 23 to 24 is the assessment year. The new income which you're earning.
And this is the previous year.
Yeah, this is the previous year. Yes, sir.
So actually, every year, every financial year is a previous year also and assessment year also.
Yes, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
The new income which you're earning in the assessment year, that is a previous year, sir.
Every year, whatever income you are earning, the assessment will happen next year. So whatever income you are earning over here, for that, this is the assessment year, this is the previous year.
Yes, sir. Yes,
but you're also earning some income in this year, right? For that,
that income you're earning in the assessment year, that is 23 to 24.
Correct. And for that income, this will be the assessment year and this will be the previous year. So this is a previous year also and an assessment year also. Every financial year is also a previous year and also an assessment year.
Yes, got it.
Because every year you are going to do assessment for the previous year's income, but you're also earning income in the current year. So there is a previous year and there's an assessment year in every financial year.
Every year you earn income, so every year can be a assessment year also and financial year also, because every year you
every financial year is a previous year and assessment year.
Yes, sir. sir, I got it.
Okay, great. Assessment year means this definition is given in section 2, subsection 9. So remember I told you section 2 is for definitions. Within that you have many definitions. So you have like 2 in bracket 1, 2 in bracket 2. So this will have one definition, this will have another definition. Just like that, 2 subsection 9, it says assessment year means the period of 12 months commencing on the first day of April of every year. And then an explanation is there that relating to every previous year, the subsequent financial year is called the assessment year when the assessment happens. Okay.
Yes,
and
sir.
the definition of previous year is given in section 3. Let me show you that also. For the purpose of this act, previous year means the financial year immediately preceding the assessment year. So the year immediately before the assessment year. Okay. Each year
Yes.
will be an assessment year and a previous year.
Also, in definition, you can say the year which comes after previous financial year is called assessment year. That also you can say.
We can say that, but they have defined it in a certain way and we have to stick to that definition. They have defined assessment year as a period of 12 months commencing on 1st of April every year. So every year is an assessment year, and then previous year has been defined in relation to the assessment year. So
Yes, okay, got it.
previous year is defined as the financial year preceding the assessment. So whenever I talk of assessment year, in short, in income tax, we say, for example, AY 22-23. This means assessment year 1st April 22 से लेकर 31st March 2023. But this is the assessment year. So which is the previous year relating to this? The preceding
21,
financial year. So
21
that will be
to 22.
1/4/21 to 31/3/22.
22.
This
That
is
is
the
previous year.
AY and this is the PY. Okay.
Yes, sir.